All right, now we're at the point where we are ready to start sanding. So what you're going to want to use, this works good. It's a drop bar spreader, Scott's Turf Builder. You can get them at a Lowe's or Home Depot. They work really good. When doing putting greens, a larger aggregate size is not recommended. We want to be able to get the material down into the green, and if you use a very large aggregate, it's harder to push it down inside the fibers. So this particular blend that we're using is silica sand. It's not playground sand that you're buying at Lowe's or Home Depot. This is from an actual facility or plant, and it's very similar to like sandblasting sand. So this is a 3065. So remember, the larger the size or the larger the number, the smaller the granule size. Now what's important about getting it from a facility like this is that all of the sand has been kiln dried. So all the moisture is essentially baked out of it. It's nice and dry. And what it allows it to do is go through the drop spreader evenly. So you don't want to hand broadcast this, because what will happen is if you get it in certain locations or too much, it creates a hump inside the turf and you can step on it and you can feel it. So what we like to do is use the drop spreader. Now you can see there was some moisture on the actual spreader, and it's causing the sand to absorb it and kind of stick. So we do not want to install this sand when the green is wet or moist, because it just sucks the water right in, and it'll sit right on top and it won't broom in. So what we're going to do is start sanding here in just a moment. But again, we want to use a drop spreader to broadcast it evenly, and we'll work on the next step in just a moment. Now we're going to start dropping the sand. One important thing to remember is that the smaller aggregate that we're putting in here, meaning the 3065, the real fine stuff, we want to make sure that we're putting that all along the edge of this too. We don't want to go a small fine 3065 and then jump up to a 1220 or a 20 grit, because what happens is as this gets broomed in, this larger stuff will end up working its way on top of the green, and it doesn't want to get in there and settle very well, and you get a lot of chatter, meaning when the ball hits, it'll skip as it hits all the larger aggregate size sand. So helpful tip is to use the same grit, 3065 or a 30 or a 45 or whatever it is you're using, all the way around the radius of your green, including your fringe. That way, what it does, it keeps the aggregate all the same size, and we don't have any of the larger size getting mixed in and causing any disruption. When we get over on this side, off the fringe, and we get into the regular lawn, then over here we can do a larger 20 size. Now, something that's also extremely important is that if you use a larger size tan sand, let's say for example a 30, then on top of it you go to a real fine green sand that's a smaller aggregate size. That's not good, because the smaller aggregate size will eventually work its way down below the larger size. So we want to put the smaller size first, a 3065 first, and then on top we can look at putting in like a 30 grit green. So just a little helpful hint. Now, when we're doing this, what I like to do is we'll start off, see the greens back here. I like to go just in lineal fashion. I just like to go back and forth. And so we'll start it. Obviously the taller grass is just making it disappear pretty quick, so you're not going to see it, but we'll get a little bit on the green. So as we're dragging it back, we pulled and depressed the handle, and we're walking with it.